Well, hey, I'm pumped to come to you guys today and share with you this case study about how I took a deal from being dead, completely dead, to making $30,000 fee. Now, you guys might be like, come on, that's crazy talk. How are you doing that on a deal like that? How are you going to take something that's completely dead and make money on it? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. But before I get into this deal and explaining everything, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about my backstory, a little bit how I got started, and tell you a little bit about myself, so you can kind of all relate to what I'm going through. Because I believe we all go through pretty much the same journey. Okay. So when I started, I originally started wholesaling because I was doing door to door sales. I was making good money, but the problem with door to door sales was I had to move every summer to go like work. Every summer I'd be in like Texas, I'd be in Indiana, and I would knock door to door, sell dish satellite, and it was good money. But I was tired of moving like back and forth, and I got married. So I said, okay, what can I do to make a lot of money? That was originally what I wanted to do. I said, what can I do to provide for my family, to make money and use the skills that I've acquired throughout my life of, I like talking to people. And I thought about real estate. I think most people probably think about real estate when they think about, okay, what career path can I go into that will provide the financial freedom and the time that I want, with my family. Because the thing is, Lucy, you're on here. I know you probably didn't get into wholesaling or real estate because you love wholesaling, right? Did you get into it because you just love the thrill of the wholesale deal?
Um, to be honest, not really. And I know that I guess the way I was approaching it was a bit stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that the barrier to entry I felt was higher because I initially wanted a rental,
Mm-hmm.
and I contacted an agent in my area about a listing, and he went to do a showing on this really, really cheap townhouse. Instead of doing an Airbnb, which might be, a pain in the neck, and
Right.
he was like, I know you're young, and then you still want to do education and all that and save up for a car. He was like, how about you do this? And then he taught me about wholesaling. I was like, it
Mm.
blew my mind. I was like, what? I can build capital like
Yeah,
that? I was like,
yeah. You can
wow.
make money with no money, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. So I was the same way. I was like, wow, I want to make money with no money. Yeah. So anyway, that was my story and how I got started. I was like, what can I do right now to make money with the skill set that I have to provide the freedom and the financial freedom and the time that I want. And I don't want a boss. I don't want a boss, because after I quit my job from door to door, I went out and started interviewing with a bunch of people. I put on a suit and I would start and talk. I would go and talk and do interviews. I interviewed with an insurance agent, like to be an insurance sales guy. I interviewed for like a medical sales expert. And these guys that were interviewing me were like judging me. They were looking me up and down, like, I don't know if you got what it takes, Nate. And in my mind, I was like, I don't need this. I don't need someone to judge me and I get qualified to get a job. Forget this. So then I found out about wholesaling and I was like, I'm in. I can do this. I don't have anyone telling me like that. Let's give me the checkbox to work for them. I can do it myself. So I went into wholesaling. And again, the reason why I did it and the reason why I think a lot of people do it is I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to be my own boss and I wanted to have, work for myself and have freedom. That's what I wanted. And even deeper than just the freedom and the money, I wanted to provide a lifestyle for my family that was better than what I grew up with. And I grew up in middle class and it was fine. But as a kid, you see all the rich kids that have like the super nice Abercrombie and stuff. And you're like, man, I wish I had that. And you don't have that. So for me, I was like, man, it would be great to create that lifestyle for my kids, make sure they're not spoiled, but deep down, like give them what they need, teach them correct principles, teach them how not to be spoiled, but give them what they need. So when they ask for, to play baseball or basketball, they don't feel ashamed, kind of like I did. I was like, man, we don't have money for those things. And I wanted to do more things, but I didn't because I was young and I knew we didn't have money. So that's the deep down the reason why I wanted to, create this financial freedom, this business. Okay. So again, it all came to wholesaling. All right. So again, you guys are probably like, what does this have to do with his 30K deal? I'm getting there. Okay. I'm getting there. Just stick with me. So I got into wholesaling and I was taught how to do it. Okay. I was taught that you have to go find a deal. So that's what I did. I started hitting the phones. I got a Mojo dialer, started dialing right through that thing and was just dialing for 3 months. And I did not know what I was doing. When people were yelling at me, I was getting really fired up and pissed because I was like, how dare that person talk to me like that? I was getting mad, but I was calling, finding the deal first. That's what I was taught. And that's what most of you are taught. So I eventually got my first deal within 3 months with my business partner. It was $5,000. We had to split it, $5,000 in half, $2,500 each. 3 months of work for $2,500. That sucks.
That sucks.
I was making way more than that back in the day, but I believed in the process because everyone said it works. Okay. So the next thing I did, I started flyering and knocking doors. I got another deal. It was massive, massive action. What do you guys think I did immediately once I started making enough deals? I stopped taking the action and I hired it out because I was like, forget this. I'm not trying to call all day. I'm not trying to knock doors, flyer. I'm going to hire it out. So this has been, in a nutshell, the journey of a wholesaler, or at least for me. And if you guys don't believe me, I went on Real Estate Disruptor, Steve's Training's podcast, and told this story. This has been my story for like the last 2 to 3 years. As I work really hard, get a deal, make a lot of money, and then I'd hire out marketing. And then it would go, I'd spend all that money, spend thousands and thousands of dollars in marketing. It would go back down. I'd get a deal. I'd make money. It'd go back down. Deal money. The business has been nothing but a roller coaster ride, the way that I was taught to do it. I tried to get deals consistently. Cold calling. I would pay, when I first started, I paid my homies from college $15 an hour to cold call. Spent 3 months of them cold calling, didn't get a single deal. So spent like what, 5, 10K, back down to zero in my bank account, or not zero, but close. Then we get a deal. Then I was like, let's go pay-per-click. Pay-per-click works. I've heard pay-per-click works for a lot of people. Got a pay-per-click deal, made about $50,000, kept spending money on pay-per-click, went down. And then I was like, let's do texting. Texting worked for a while. Texting was good, but guess what happened to texting? Rules, regulations, everyone got into it. Then I made money, went down. And that has been the story and the failure of, I think, most wholesalers. They see that they can make money, so they spend it, they work hard, they hustle, they grind, they make money on their own, and it feels good. Then they try to hire it all out because they're tired of grinding, and then they freaking blow all their dough. Unless you are an amazing leader and you're amazing at building teams, the wholesaling model, in my opinion, is flawed. I think the fact that you go out and spend a ton of money, build a huge team, you have to pay everyone, you have to spend marketing, it's just like a rat race. It really is. And the reason why I'm hitting you guys with the truth is because I didn't figure out how to do this business until later. Okay. But I want to say another thing about the wholesaling model of going to find deals, spending money, building a team. It's difficult to manage. Okay. It's inconsistent. And especially right now with the way the market shifted, you don't want to spend all your money and energy on leads that they're not going to pan out because people are dumb and they want too much and their house isn't worth it and buyers aren't paying that much. So let's talk about this deal that I did. For the last year, I've been talking on social media. I've been letting everyone know what I do. I buy homes and I flip, I fix flip, I do real estate. For the first 3 years when I was just marketing, I didn't want to tell everyone what I was doing. I just felt ashamed. I didn't feel like worthy or like I was good enough or good at my job. But then I said, look, I am good at my job. I'm going to start telling everyone what I do. So now my whole family knows what I do. Now all my friends know what I do. So I found out on this 30K deal, I found out that one of my family members had an apartment complex that they needed to sell. I was planning on buying it. I already knew who I was going to buy it with. I had the buyer in place. I was ready to go. I was going to partner with my friend who we were going to buy the apartment complex. So what ended up happening is interest rates skyrocketed. It didn't make sense to buy the deal anymore. So we were like, man, this deal is dead. And by the way, the deal was dead. I was trying to find someone else to partner with. Nobody else wanted it. It was a dead lead, dead deal. Nothing was going to happen. Interest rates killed the deal at the price that the seller wanted it. It wasn't going to work. Because of the relationships I have, because of the painless wholesaling method I teach and getting to know your buyers, one of my buyers hit me up and said, hey man, I actually have someone I know that would take that deal. Would you want a JV on it if I can bring my buyer? And I said, yeah, I'm going to make nothing on it. If I can bring the buyer to my seller and they're happy with the offer, let's freaking do it. So he said, here's the guy's info. And we talked maybe for a couple hours in total, maybe 7 or 8 hours total. And I eventually was able to connect him with the seller. I didn't even wholesale this deal. I connected him with the seller. They agreed on a price. And then he said, what do you want for your fee? And I said, I don't know. What do you think's fair? He said, 20,000. And I was like, could you do more? I was really hoping to make more. Could you do 30? He said, done deal. Great. So we signed an invoice and I got paid 30. Now, look, the fee is 30, but because of the way I structured with the JV, it was a 60-40 split. I made 60, he made 40. So I'm going to make 18, he's going to make 12. Who here would rather take $18,000 on a couple phone calls off of a dead lead than zero? Okay. Most of you would want to do that, is take 18,000 versus zero on a couple phone calls off of a relationship that you did not have in the beginning. I didn't have it, but because I didn't know that end buyer, but he had to buy it because he needed to put his money into something to help with his taxes before the end of the year, because this closed right at the end of December. So what I'm trying to tell everyone here is, if you want to avoid the roller coaster ride that I've been in for the last 3 years, you need to wholesale differently, especially with this market shift. You need to wholesale the right way. And I call it the painless way. And that's exactly what I teach. I teach exactly how to do deals with little to no marketing spend, where you have to spend any money, really any money on deals. I didn't spend any money on this. I will teach you exactly how to do this so you can do this sustainably. A lot of you guys have jobs. You can do this, the painless wholesaling method, with a job. I have a job. My Investor Thrive is a job. It takes all my time. I'm still consistently doing deals every month because I know how to reverse wholesale. I know how to do the painless wholesaling method. If someone comes to me and says, Nate, I want to build a whole giant wholesaling business, I'd say, don't do it. It's probably not a good idea if you're probably just going to spend a ton of money and build a team. That's not the model I recommend. What I recommend is painless wholesaling. You can build a business out of it. You can build it big, but do not do it the traditional way, in my opinion. I've tried it. I'm very smart. I'm a hard worker. I don't think it's the best model to build a business off of, because we're all in this to make passive income, right? We're all in this to get assets and grow. If you have a giant wholesaling business that has to do deal after deal after deal, and you have to pay your employees and pay the overhead and marketing, when are you going to get to keep a property? You're not going to get to keep a lot of properties. You know why? Because you have to pay everybody and you're not going to get to keep stuff. Or you're going to say, hey, I want to keep that apartment complex. And your employees are going to be like, well, yeah, you still got to pay me 15%. The transaction coordinator, everybody's going to say, I need to get my cut. And you're going to be like, well, shoot, I don't have the money to pay everyone unless I sell this deal. I don't get to keep it. So that's why the model of building a giant wholesaling business, I don't believe in. I've tried it. I don't think it's the best way. I believe reverse wholesaling, doing deals part-time or full-time if you want to do it enough, where you can find deals off the MLS, you find deals from other wholesalers. There's about 10, 15 different techniques to get deals for free that don't cost you any money. Building relationships is the most important thing. So what I want to invite you guys all to do, if you want to continue to do the old way that I tried for 3 years, up and down, and blow all your money and have nothing to show for it, go ahead. That's fine. You can do that. But I'm trying to tell you guys that the best way to do it is through relationships, painless wholesaling, reverse wholesaling. And I want to invite all of you to join me as I teach you guys how to do it. That's basically what this webinar is for, is to show you, you can do this job. You can do it part-time. You can do it full-time. You don't have to spend all your money and blow your money and your time. The deals that I do take me a couple hours, and I make more money because I have less overhead, less marketing spend, less all this trash that you got to pay for. Okay.